Charlie's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy. The amazing Mikey McCoy.
Called Erica. I just remember it rang like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know what to say. Those are the words that will change someone's life forever, and you have to be the one to say it.
Espialidocious Mikey McCoy appeared to have like an extra spring in his step that made them all a little bit uncomfortable in the aftermath, and that he seemed all too happy to assume Charlie's position. Look, he's already speaking at Liberty University. Why?
This Turning Point USA whistleblower finally snapped, and what they revealed wasn't about politics, donors, or even Charlie's behind-the-scenes clashes within the organization. According to them, the biggest secret inside TPUSA had nothing to do with strategy or money. It centered around Mikey McCoy, Charlie's 23-year-old chief of staff, and the internal chaos that broke out over a rumored relationship he was having with another member of the team, something staffers allegedly scrambled to keep quiet long before the story ever reached Charlie. And once you hear the rest, the secrecy and the strange behavior inside the organization suddenly make a lot more sense. From the outside, Mikey always looked like Charlie's golden protege, the kid they brought everywhere. The right-hand man who followed Charlie like a shadow, always in the room, always in the frame, always positioned as the rising star behind the scenes.
Hello everyone, my name is Mikey McCoy. I had the unique honor, blessing, and privilege of a lifetime to not only call Charlie a precious friend, mentor, but to travel with him literally everywhere.
But inside the organization, staff started noticing something very different. According to the whistleblower, Mikey wasn't treated like a typical junior staffer, not even close. He was getting special meetings, special access, special protection. The kind of treatment that only happens when someone higher up either needs something from you, or needs something about you to stay quiet. The whistleblower claimed the situation involving Mikey wasn't just some vague rumor floating through hallways. It was something quietly acknowledged by the people who handled internal problems. And the issue wasn't what Mikey was allegedly doing, it was who he was supposedly involved with, and how damaging that could look if it surfaced while Turning Point was positioning him as a major part of the organization's future. That's where the story starts to feel less like an office dynamic and more like a coordinated effort to control the narrative. Because once leadership decided they needed Mikey to appear clean, polished, and future-ready, the protection around him intensified. And, according to the whistleblower, protecting Mikey meant something else too. They had to start managing Charlie. This is where the timeline gets strange. Insiders say Charlie had been distancing himself from the organization for months. He was tired of donor pressure, tired of decisions being made over his head, tired of being told who he could put on stage and who he needed to cut loose. But the move that reportedly irritated leadership the most? Charlie openly talking about bringing Candace Owens back into the fold, publicly, loudly, and completely against the wishes of the people who wanted her nowhere near the organization again. That single decision, insiders say, caused more tension than anything else happening behind the scenes. But before we get into those last 48 hours, we have to talk about the clip that made millions of people immediately pause, rewind, and watch again. The moment Charlie was shot, nearly everyone reacted with visible shock, except Mikey.
McCoy can be seen plugging his ears and instantly turning around and walking away slow.
Mikey immediately raised his phone to his ear, fast, automatic, almost like someone who already knew exactly what the next move was supposed to be.
Back there, and as soon as Charlie gets taken out, he turns, he's on the phone immediately, and he just walks off. He bails. You can see him right there. He's just taking off. There's Mikey McCoy bailing. According to Erica, he was calling her and letting her know that she needed to go down to the hospital.
At first, Turning Point supporters rushed to explain it away, insisting people were reading too much into it. But then Mikey's dad shifted the narrative entirely, claiming he was the one Mikey called first.
Then Charlie was shot, he called me, says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray."
The problem? Erica completely detonated that explanation on live television when she revealed that Mikey had called her just seconds after the shooting.
It was on silent, so I had no reason to look back at it. I moved my mom, I went back to grab my phone, and that's when Mikey started calling me. Called me within seconds.
That was the first real crack in the story. Suddenly, Charlie's executive producer was claiming Mikey never made the call, while Erica insisted he absolutely did. And according to the whistleblower, inside the office no one could even agree on which version they were supposed to push. Mikey himself wasn't helping, his story was already slipping, and the stuttering made it obvious.
Thank you, Bernadette. It's crazy. It's just,
Lost for words there, huh, Mikey? That little stutter, that pause, that moment where the sentence never really finishes. That's the kind of thing that makes people stop and replay the clip.
But here's the thing, what if Charlie had stumbled onto something personal about Mikey, something he wasn't ready to share publicly? That alone could have created tension, pressure, or panic behind the scenes. And when you look at Mikey's tribute to Charlie, the whole situation starts to feel even more
Entire car ride, he was grilling me on Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, American history. At the end, he said, "Don't go to college. Come work for me."
According to many commenters, Mikey's reaction didn't exactly come across as that of a grieving friend. For years, online rumors have circulated about complicated dynamics within the Turning Point circle, including speculation about personal relationships and shifting identities. People pointed out that over 300 weeks ago, Mikey was still using the name Michael McCoy, leaving comments like "Love you, Queen," before later adopting the name Mikey McCoy. Even his wife's friends once asked whether Mikey was a stage name, sparking more questions about his persona and how he presented himself publicly. Some viewers also noted that the Turning Point crew has always had a very specific, polished image, one that fuels plenty of conspiracy theories about how political organizations operate behind the scenes. Critics claim that both sides of the political spectrum build teams of loyal insiders, reward them heavily, and expect unwavering obedience in return. And when you look at the way Mikey has spoken about Erica, people say it only adds more layers to the mystery.
she texts, the way she talks. For the first time, I got a little emotional 2 days ago, because for the first time when I was talking to her about where the organization's going, how we're going to continue Charlie's legacy, how we're going to really 10x this organization to become what Charlie inevitably wanted it to become. I hearing her thoughts and the way she was talking and breaking things down, I felt like for the first time I was speaking to Charlie for the first time again. And he's ingrained.
Everything seems to connect in a way that's hard for people to ignore. But even that isn't the end of it. The whistleblower claimed this wasn't the first time Mikey acted in a way they felt was out of character. Just 4 days before the shooting, during the Korea trip, Mikey suddenly decided to record Charlie walking and talking in a style he'd never used before. It struck some observers as unusual, especially given the timing, and it quickly became another detail people began dissecting online.
Originally, we were supposed to go to the DMZ portion where Trump shook Kim Jong-un's hand, and I'm going to put him on blast, but the United Nations canceled Charlie, didn't allow us to go.
At first, people brushed it off as just a harmless, sweet moment between co-workers, until they realized that exact clip was one of the pieces Turning Point pushed out immediately after Charlie's death, packaged alongside the sentimental family footage Mikey's wife happened to film during their first ever vacation with the Kirks. That trip has since become one of the biggest points of online speculation, with insiders claiming the McCoys were unusually focused on recording the Kirk family, especially moments with Erica and Charlie together. But to be fair, none of that proves anything by itself. What's fueling the suspicion is everything that surfaced after the footage went public, like the online chatter pointing out that Erica's travel patterns reportedly lined up with the same two foreign aircraft multiple times. One was described as a yellow Egyptian plane, the other a blue aircraft registered in the same region, appearing over 70 times. Commenters insist that's not coincidence, it looks like surveillance. And according to those theories, it wasn't Charlie being monitored. It was Erica. Places she visited alone, trips she took with Charlie, even international flights people didn't think anyone else knew about. But the part that sent speculation into overdrive was how quickly the organization seemed to elevate Mikey afterward, almost as if he were being presented as the new Charlie. At least, that's the version circulating online.
That he seemed all too happy to assume Charlie's position. Look, he's already speaking at Liberty University. Why? Because he made some phone calls? Have we lowered the standards for what makes somebody a hero?
At first, people brushed it off as just a harmless, sweet moment between co-workers, until they realized that exact clip was one of the pieces Turning Point pushed out immediately after Charlie's death, packaged alongside the sentimental family footage Mikey's wife happened to film during their first ever vacation with the Kirks. That trip has since become one of the biggest points of online speculation, with insiders claiming the McCoys were unusually focused on recording the Kirk family, especially moments with Erica and Charlie together. But to be fair, none of that proves anything by itself. What's fueling the suspicion is everything that surfaced after the footage went public, like the online chatter pointing out that Erica's travel patterns reportedly lined up with the same two foreign aircraft multiple times. One was described as a yellow Egyptian plane, the other a blue aircraft registered in the same region, appearing over 70 times. Commenters insist that's not coincidence, it looks like surveillance. And according to those theories, it wasn't Charlie being monitored. It was Erica. Places she visited alone, trips she took with Charlie, even international flights people didn't think anyone else knew about. But the part that sent speculation into overdrive was how quickly the organization seemed to elevate Mikey afterward, almost as if he were being presented as the new Charlie. At least, that's the version circulating online.